Hi, welcome to Manas Shield YouTube channel. Before we start, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Let's start the video. If you haven't watched the previous video, I'll link it in the description box, or you can click here. Tensura Volume 20. Chapter 3. The Titan of Shakeout. Enemies counterattack. In contrast to the battlefield, where even the strongmen have finally made their moves, Xian and her team are in spectator mode. But my father doesn't move. Well, now that my uncle has left, I guess it's about time. We'll take care of him then. The three brothers are so excited that they say things like that. Xian replies to them, feeling annoyed with these idiots. Don't panic. Of course, I'll take care of them. You three should lead the Terror Knights and keep out of the way. The three agreed without protest. It was not that they thought they could win. They were just in a good mood, so their replies were light. However, they did not forget to give her a warning, even if they were joking around. I understand, but don't underestimate my father, okay? You're right. Even though Miss is strong, Dad is a real monster. Woohoo. I've never been able to beat him. It was not about winning or losing, it was difficult to even stand in front of the hockey. It was obvious that the three brothers could not even compete. From Xian's point of view, these three are good players in their own right. They are getting stronger and stronger with every mock battle, and she's looking forward to seeing their growth. Xian could certainly sense the seriousness of the three brothers. Don't worry. I won't do anything reckless. It was a very Xian-like statement, though she did not see herself. There was no movement on the battlefield, but her turn would come soon. Xian was ready for battle, knowing it firsthand. Should we just go in and attack at once? Waiting is not good for her, and breaking the stalemate and winning the game at once might be a good strategy. Now, as long as they can manage the enemy general, they're sure to win. That was when Xian thought so. Suddenly, the battlefield changed. It was abrupt and harsh. A no-man's land appeared on the battlefield. Several huge dead spirit knights were blown away like pieces of wood. What is that? Xian's eyes widened. Every time there was a flash of silver light, a huge dead spirit knight of over air rank was knocked down with ease. Standing there is a slender man of extraordinary stature, his body bound with multiple layers of chains. It was a presence that surpassed even daggers. Xian's body was covered with goosebumps. Her survival instincts were telling her with all her might that the man was dangerous. Oh, that's the one that was sealed up. Is it Fen's uncle, the giant god of the Mad Fist, who was feared as both a god of war and a raging god of evil? Were you? I'm hungry. Deborah's irrelevant remark in this situation is just a corkscrew punch in the belly. You're full now, aren't you? Xian changes her mind. Deborah's stupidity has eased the tension in the room. Xian observed Fen, thinking that even though she was an idiot, she was a lovable idiot. He was over 3 meters tall, but his chains were more eye-catching. It's no wonder. Is it a Gleipnir chain? It's a tremendous thing. Gadra. What is it? Yes. It's a myth written in ancient texts before the history of mankind. Gadra, who loves to talk about things, shares his knowledge with them, as if he's got a point. Gleipnir. Since mythological times, it has been a chain that has kept the evil gods at bay. If the story is true, the chain would have evolved by absorbing the magicule released by the evil god. Since that time, the chain has been a sacred weapon of the Dragon Emperor, sealing both the holy and the evil. It is no wonder that this chain has a performance that surpasses that of the mystical great chains in the present age. However, it is not the chains that we should really fear. It is the evil god enclosed in those chains that is the threat that they should be wary of. It is said that in mythical times, the evil gods were sealed by the Dragon Emperor. 2 of the 3 brothers reformed, but one of them remained violent and was sealed away by the divine chain. That's Fen who is raging there, and the chains that bind him are the famous Gleipnir. Gadra said happily. As if to prove that he was right, the chains wriggled and pulsed. Despite the chains that were holding him back, Fen was smiling. As if to say, I'm having fun, I'm having fun, I'm having fun. The chains are moving on their own and knocking down the enemies without Fen doing anything. Over air rank warriors can't even stop their steps. Xian is astonished. Fen's existence value was said to be comparable to daggerels, but it seemed to surpass daggerels by a long shot. That's funny. They say there is always someone better than you, but I never thought they were that much better. Xian's colleagues are also generally high in magicule, and have grown beyond comparison, but Fen was in a realm that even they could not reach. He was in the realm of Valdor and Valgrand, the best of the best that Xian knew, the true dragon. He's a monster, isn't he? You guys can't handle him. Xian assured him. On top of that, Daggerel was coming. The thought of that was depressing. What are you going to do? Do you think we can't win, or should we withdraw? Ultima asked innocently. Xian thinks in an amused way. No matter how much the game is going back and forth, the board can be easily overturned by the appearance of such a monster. As Ultima said, the only option was to run away. Rimuru does not want any casualties. If they followed his orders to the letter, they should consider retreat. Now that Adalman and the others are holding out, it would be possible to escape from this place with only Xian and the reinforcements from the land of monsters. It is easy to retreat, but the consequences are obvious. Those who are left behind, the innocent people living in this land, will be deprived of all their rights by an unreasonable tyranny. And this would involve even the sphere of human existence, and destroy the realization of Rimuru's ideal. Even if they fight against this monster, they will inevitably be annihilated. No. Xian is here to make sure that doesn't happen. They got the answer. It was not a difficult problem. Xian is ready to fight, and she is ready. This is also easy because she has done it many times before. The pride of having been in and out of critical situations many times is what keeps Xian going. And it's not just Xian. Which do you prefer? Xian asks, and Ultima smiles. I knew you wouldn't run away from me, she says. I like that about Xian-sen. Ultima replies innocently, well then, since you and the old man hit it off, I'll take the rambunctious one over there. They decided who would fight whom as if they were discussing their favorite dessert. Their exchange ends on such a light note. It was decided that Ultima would be Fen's opponent, and Xian, a fellow generals, would face Daggerul. Following this, Lumina's group made a move. Well. If a lord is a lord, then his subordinates are his subordinates. Demon Lord Rimuru's men don't seem to know the meaning of fear. With such dismay, Lewis also announces his participation. His eyes caught sight of the four-armed giants running amok. He is Basara, the first of the 5 great generals, who is the maternal uncle of Daggerul's sons. There were several other strong men in various parts of the battlefield. Following Lewis, the Bloody Knights and the 7 noblemen ran out to face them. Thus, the battlefield became more chaotic. A sandstorm rages on the battlefield. Fen moves, chains dance. As a result, many huge dead spirit knights, death giants, are broken into pieces. Fen's eyes caught Adalman, who was commanding on the back of the Gehenna Dragon Wenti. It is a battlefield theory to target generals. In fact, Fen's action was the right one, since Adalman's power had made the immortals mortal. Fen runs through the dust at a tremendous speed, which is now flight, closing in on Adalman with such force that he ignores the presence of anyone who stands in his way. I see you. Adalman notices Fen's approach and tries to deal with him. He had not been so careless as to think that he was safe in the air, but Fen's movement was too fast. As if the Gleipnir were of infinite length, he tied up the Gehenna Dragon Wenti without regard for space. The chains were of a mythical grade that would seal even the gods, and there was no way for Wenti to escape. He was slammed to the ground, unable to move. Adalman escaped as quickly as he could, but Fen did not miss it. Evil demon. You're dead. He shouted simply and hit him to get rid of the obstacles in his way. Adalman had expected this. From the beginning, he had protected himself with multiple barriers, so that he would not be caught by surprise. And yet, with just one blow, Adalman was knocked to the ground and rolled over. It was a heavy blow. It was a blow of such absolute violence that it took away not only his will to rebel, but also his will to live. Adalman experienced it firsthand. A terrible silence fell on the battlefield. In an instant, Fen took control of the battlefield. Meanwhile, Ultima has begun to move. Before the battle began, Ultima had a secret meeting alone with Luminous. Luminous, who knows the threat of Daggerul, has read this situation. Violence overturns everything. Knowing this well, Luminous had devised all possible ways to win the war. She wanted to defeat Daggerul even by using the absolute best-kept secret. Dainty even in the midst of the battlefield, Ultima set out for Fen with the ease of a stroll. She stands to protect Adalman. She looks at Fen and laughs, as if to say, if they took it from me, I'll take it back, and that's pretty good. Even I recognized Adalman's ability. Ultima says. Adalman, like Ultima, is one of the 12 guardians. Even though they were good at supporting the rear, the name of Gehenna Lord was not a true one. Fen was too strong. Ultima was not amused by this, and she was unhesitant to show her disdain for Fen. Oh, really? I was weak, wasn't I? Fen was fighting Or. He is not proud of it, even though he made Adalman fall to the ground with a blow of his toki-clad fist. He is not even proud of it because he thinks it is a natural result. Ultima saw through Fen's thinking and thought that it was just as well. Since she's the same way, she can understand Fen's feelings. From the strong man's point of view, the weak are nothing but toys. Ultima, who had reigned as the king of demons until now, had no right to complain to Fen. The difference in strength was too great. Fen did not care about them. This time, they were on the side of the weak. Ultima thinks that this is just a story of that. However, we do not intend to give up easily. As Ultima loves games, they will try to win until the end, even if they lose. If we keep trying, we will win someday. She is thinking very comfortably. Let me call myself something. I'm Pain Lord Ultima. And you are. You little brat, you're so cocky. I'm Fen. You're gonna die here anyway, so why should I remember you? As soon as they had said each other's names, the battle had begun. Xian remained on top of the long wall, watching for Daggeral's move. No matter how Xian would deal with the situation, it was obvious that she would lose the battle. Lumina seemed to have a plan, and some part of her mind was hoping for it. But that was not enough. You cannot win a battle if you expect miracles to happen. Xian was going to pick up the victory, even if it was by force. So that's my Uncle Fen down there, huh? Come on, even I didn't expect a monster like that. You're right. It's even worse than we thought. Uncle Glassard's a good man, but Uncle Fen is something else. Yeah. No wonder they sealed him up. Besides Xian, Dagura and Lyra were discussing their impressions of their uncle whom they had never seen before. Dagura's enthusiasm for his father, whom he had promised to defeat, has been dampened. It's not too much to ask, Xian thought. It would be a fool who did not know himself to think that she could win. Ryu. If I'm that skinny, I can beat him with my weight. Yes, just like Deborah who only said this. Deborah really needs to be punished. That's what Xian was thinking. Suddenly the situation changed. You're looking down on me with a lot of composure, aren't you? The voice came from behind Xian. This is the top of the long wall, the front line, but also a defense base. Naturally, the anti-demonic intrusion barrier was in operation, and the area around Xian in particular was lined with multiple layers of the multi-layer barrier. The problem is that Xian was unaware of any of them until he was spoken to here. They have been monitoring him. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy it.